Call the city council meeting to order. Clerk, please call the roll.
Germaini,
Here.
Lamore,
Excused?
Felder,
Excused?
Whitman,
She's excused.
Stillgrave,
Here.
Mayor Clark.
Present. I'd ask we all please rise for the invocation. Remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Guide our working together, give us wisdom to make the right decisions, your understanding to listen to each other, and your compassion to promote the peace and welfare of the residents of this community.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, first item, please.
The first item on the agenda is the approval of the regular agenda.
I'll see if administration, if there's any amendments to the agenda, or council, any amendments? If none, motion to approve.
Your Honor, I make a motion to approve the regular agenda. Support.
Motion by Councilwoman Vining, supported by Councilwoman Germaini to approve the regular agenda. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Germaini,
Yes.
Whitman, Stillgrave,
Yes.
Vining,
Yes.
Mayor Clark.
Yes. Next item, please.
The next item is the consent agenda, and the approval of payments should read $1,433,516.84, 1,433,516.84.
Thank you. Are there any items on the consent agenda that council wishes to have pulled for further discussion? There's actually one item. The item on the consent agenda? Seeing none. Is the items on the consent agenda wish to be pulled by any of those present here this evening? Items on the consent agenda be pulled. Seeing none, a motion would be in order.
Make a motion to all items on the consent agenda be carried out and placed on file. Second.
Motion by Councilwoman Germaini, supported by Councilwoman Stillgrave, that all items on the consent agenda be accepted, placed on file, and resolutions adopted. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Germaini,
Yes.
Stillgrave, Vining, Mayor Clark.
Yes. Clerk, next item, please.
The next item is under presentations. It's item 3504, which is review of Michigan House of Representative districts within the city of Monroe. And no city council action is required on this. I'm just going to give a little bit of information.
Okay,
Okay?
thank you.
So in front of council, let me pull this up here. Right. So we've recently received the assignments for the House district, the House districts that the city of Monroe will be in, along with the Senate, county commissioners, et cetera. So I wanted to just take an opportunity to show council what we're looking at, and then also give an introduction to the public watching us this evening. And I will be going out in the community to give people an opportunity, if they have questions, et cetera, for me, and want to see a map and would like to have someone there at the same time who can answer their questions. I'll be out in the community, but I'll get into more of that in a minute. But essentially, all of the districts, due to redistricting, have stayed the same for the city of Monroe, except the House district. The numbers are changing, but the lines are not changing. So the county commissioner district, those are remaining the same. We're still in County Commission District 5 and 6. The Senate district, while the number has changed, the city of Monroe is entirely encapsulated in one Senate district. The House districts is where things change a little bit. And as you can see from the maps in front of you and on the screen here, precincts 1, 2, 3 South, 3 North, 4, and 5 will be in House District 30, which I didn't bring the entire map tonight because I really wanted to concentrate on the city of Monroe. But that will go all the way south to Bedford and west to some other points. Precinct 6 will be in District 29, which goes up towards Taylor. So the city is split. I don't know the last time the city was split. I don't have that kind of history. But for all intents and purposes, if you live in any of the precincts, with the exception of 6, when you get your ballot in August, it will be for candidates for the 30th House District, and if you live in Precinct 6, you will get it for the 29th House District. The County of Monroe is split further, and as I said, I don't want to get into too much of that tonight because I want to stay focused on the City of Monroe. Now, there's only one address in the city that seems to have encountered a little bit of problems with its reassignment. It's actually 1215 North Telegraph, which is a care facility, rehab facility, a very transient population, but still, if they're registered to vote at that population, we obviously need to serve them and need to make sure they're getting the right ballot when it comes time. That address currently resides in Precinct 6 and should be in House District 29. But what I was told was that when the redistricting commission, the maps that they look at, and it involves the Census Bureau and the census data, et cetera. So for some reason, 1215 North Telegraph looked to the redistricting commission and whoever fed them the maps as if it were in Precinct 5. Further, I've discovered that it appears to the state of Michigan as if that building itself is further split between two House districts. So I'm working on that. I have wonderful assistance from Kim, our GIS specialist. She provided me a detailed map that shows that the building, in fact, is not split between a township and the city. It resides solely in the city because I certainly don't want any boundary challenges or anything to happen because of this. But we can demonstrate that that is, in fact, a City of Monroe building. And I'm going to work with the state. We may be able to get it in the right district for it, 29, but if we don't, then everything will stay the same for the residents at that address, except that when they go to vote, they'll be voting in House District 30 and not 29. We can handle that. There are mechanisms to handle that. They will get their ballots. Again, it's a transient population. We don't have very many voters in there, so it's very manageable for the clerk's office. We can at some point petition to have them put in the right House district, and when I say right, that right based on the maps, but that's at a point in the future. So I'm on it. I'm working on it. I just wanted to show you the maps tonight and let you know that I do have a mobile clerk's office that I'll be launching here in the next month or so. And what that essentially means is that I'll be going out into the community, setting up myself at some coffee shops. I'm also already in conversations with Stephanie Kasperzak to spend some time out at the Opportunity Center. I will be talking to Oaks of Righteousness to see if they have any need for me to come there. And basically, I'm going to start out spending some time there as it warrants and focusing on the election. Like I said, I'll be taking the maps out. I'll have extras. I'll have some other voter information. And then as time goes by, if there seems to be a need for me to be out there once this passes, then I hope to continue it and also be able to provide some additional information and answer questions from the clerk treasurer's office. We are a small community. The perception is that it's easy for people to come to City Hall and get some of their questions answered, but I don't always think that's the case for a variety of reasons. So I thought I'll start with this project. It seemed like a perfect opportunity to go where people are and see if I can answer their questions. Because I don't want coming into City Hall or having to get on a computer or trying to understand it to be a barrier for them understanding where they reside in terms of the House districts, because it's new and it's confusing. I have to think about it when I say it, and I work with it every day. So just want to be available for the residents. And that's all I have.
Thank you, Clerk. I know this is not an action item for council, but it is a map for us to consider, as the clerk advised, to be going out to the community in a variety of sessions. I'll just ask if there's any questions from council at this time. I know that the clerk's always available for follow-up, and we'll get the full maps later when it's pertinent, which is, as Clerk Treasurer Lavoie said, really just concentrating on looking at our city for now, and then we'll look at the districts broader as it comes closer to ballot time, I said, sort of voting time.
And of course, we'll put it on our website too. I just wanted to get the final maps, and everyone will receive a new voter ID card. Those will go out probably later in May, prior to when they'll start receiving their ballots for the August primary.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think we're good with that. Next item, please.
The next item is item 3507, presentation of a proposed public art mural installation project.
Mr. Cochran.
Good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council. Mark Cochran, Director of Economic and Community Development. I'm here tonight. This normally would have been a work session presentation, but given tonight's scheduling adjustments, we're on the regular City Council agenda. But I wanted to provide a brief introduction, and then Woody Hoffer is going to come up and give a brief presentation. Then I'll come back and sort of wrap the presentation up and take questions. But it was probably between Christmas, Thanksgiving, Christmas timeframe. Woody and Stephanie Kasperzak had requested a meeting. And so we got together, and the meeting was to discuss a proposed murals project in the city. Obviously, for a long time, murals have been a very popular topic of discussion in the city. For a long time, we have looked at and treated them much as a sign and as a part of the sign ordinance in the city. And so, as you know, because you approved the proposal from the MKSK, we're now kicking off the project in May to update the city's sign ordinance. And the intent was to, and still remains, to address the topic of murals as they pertain to signage as part of that project. But after having the discussion with Woody and Stephanie, we took a little deeper look into it. Began to research what other communities across the state have done when it comes to murals as a tool of public art, not necessarily as a sign as defined in our zoning code. And so during that research, last month, Woody was asked to give a presentation at the Opportunity Center Advisory Council, which I sit on, as well as Councilwoman Germaini, on behalf of the city. And Woody presented what he's going to present tonight. And so the first step we thought would be to come before City Council, offer the presentation, summarize what the project is, share some initial thoughts from administration on a possible approach, as well as to get the feedback from City Council as we normally do in a work session type format. So with that, I'd ask Woody to come up and give his presentation that he gave at the Opportunity Center, and then I'll come back up when he's done.
Thanks, Mark. Good evening, Mayor and Council. To give a little bit of background, I think most of you have been to the Opportunity Center since last August to see what I would say is kind of the initial seed in this project with the mural that was installed inside of the gymnasium by Mike Hahn. The success of that project kind of launched a conversation between Stephanie and I about what do we do next and how do we continue bringing and highlighting art and culture in our community. And that's where Planting Seeds was developed. And as you can see there, it's really about cultivating growth and empowerment through art, culture, and community. And so what this, all right. There we go. So what this initiative is a collaboration between myself, Monroe County Opportunity Program, as well as the Opportunity Center, and then the greater community of Monroe. It's really designed to be the seed of an arts-based creative revitalization throughout the community, emphasizing diversity, inclusivity, while cultivating growth, empowerment, and inspiration for residents and visitors alike. This inaugural event will showcase artists of diverse backgrounds from across the United States to participate in this month-long celebration of arts and culture, offering a blank canvas to create works throughout the community. Accompanying these large-scale installations will be programming and education opportunities focused on developing young creatives, with the culmination of Planting Seeds concluding in a community block party, celebrating these artists, the community, and the culture that we share. Before I move forward, some of the partners that are moving forward or planning to move forward with this initiative with us are Monroe Public Schools, Tiffany Sacco and Tiffany's Pizza, Justin and Brittany McCormick for Monroe Beer Cooler, Amy Arnold, and likely also the city, with others to be announced later on. And so you're probably wondering where these would take place. So the plan would be that there would be 5 locations, one being at the Orchard Center High School, one being at the Opportunity Center, one at Tiffany's Pizza, one at the Monroe Public Schools Administration Building, and the last at the Monroe Beer Cooler. So Orchard Center High School. So the artist that's been selected to do this work is Backpack Durden. They were recently awarded with a Gilda Award from the Kresge Foundation in Detroit. If you guys are unfamiliar, that's one of the highest awards that an emerging artist can receive. And as you can see by these examples, they do hyper-realistic work. So this mural would take place on the west wall of Orchard Center High School. This artist Wheezy would do the mural at Tiffany's Pizza. Most of her work is based around floral motifs. Jake Dwyer would be doing the mural at the Monroe Beer Cooler. He also does primarily realistic murals. And then Tony Hooligan would do the mural at the Monroe Public Schools Administration. He's worked with clients like the Detroit Pistons, Shinola, Vans, just to name a few. And then the last mural will be a piece at the Opportunity Center, which will not be on a building, but will be a community-based paint by number mural. So Amy Arnold will head that up, but the mural itself will be painted by members of the community, youth, and other people that would like to participate. And the idea is that these works would take place starting June 18th at the dedication of the Sharing Garden at the Opportunity Center, and run for a month, concluding on July 16th.
I'm sorry, what did you say you start? I missed that part.
Starting on June 18th.
Okay, oh, it's right there in front of me. Okay, thanks.
So I think this is an exciting opportunity to approach for the city to approach this in a sort of a new manner and a fresh manner than what we've done in the past. I do appreciate that Woody and Stephanie have reached out to the city, trying to partner with us to find a way to and come up with a defined program and a structured program that while they're identifying several sites this year, how do we carry this forward? Because we know that murals and public art do bring a sense of quality of life, community pride, culture, and enhancing the arts community within areas and communities in which they thrive. So what we're looking at, obviously the sites that have been proposed, not all of them are in the city. The Monroe Public Schools Administration Building is actually in Frenchtown Township. So we're looking at the Monroe Beer Cooler, Tiffany's Pizza, the Opportunity Center, as well as Orchard Center High School as sort of the pilot for this program, and looking for council's direction on how we move the structure of this program forward. So part of the reason that we look at this outside the sign ordinance, because the current sign ordinance defines a sign as a device, a structure, or a fixture, or a placard using graphics, symbols, and/or written copy for the primary purpose of identifying, providing directions, or advertising any establishment, product, goods, or services. And the mural sign, which is currently prohibited in the existing zoning code, is defined as a sign, as I was just explaining the definition, which is directly painted on the exterior of a building wall. And so we're looking at this outside the zoning code because the public art, it's not designed to identify or direct anybody to a particular location, product, service, that's identified in the zoning code. And so we've had some discussions with Vince as well as the city attorney about, within the parameters of what the city can legally regulate, how do we put together an agreement with Woody and Stephanie, as well as each of the property owners, to move the project forward. So looking at the artists that Woody has proposed for each of the sites, what their proposed artwork is going to be on the site, and then also what happens after the mural is painted onto the building in terms of maintenance and the maintenance responsibility. Who's it going to be? Is it going to be Woody and Stephanie? Is it going to be the property owner? What if the mural comes into a situation of disrepair where the paint is chipping, it's losing its quality? What happens in terms of the city's commercial and residential property maintenance code? And so we want to look at all those and make sure that those intentions are clear, that the communication is open, not just between city administration, city council, and Woody and Stephanie, but also the property owners. And so we've had some preliminary ideas being tossed about, such as some sort of cooperative agreement between all the parties, or license agreement where the city is permitting this. How do we wade into the territory of crude or lewd, avoiding setting potential future conflicts when it comes to those sorts of topics. And so we know that we still have some issues that we need to work through to move this forward. Obviously, they're proposing to start and kick this project off June 18th. I'll say I'm excited about the idea that they're proposing at the Opportunity Center, a freestanding mural not attached to any building. I've seen this at some of the conferences that I've gone to across the country where communities have done this as a way to get the local arts community involved, or the school district, and have the high school students sort of design the mural, and then the community gets to paint it, and it becomes a source of community pride. They can walk by and say, hey, I did that. And so really excited about that project, which I think is different, of course, than painting a work of art directly on the side of a building. We intentionally stayed away from the historic district and the central business district. Tiffany's Pizza, while it's in the DDA boundaries, it's not within either of those. I think we have some real serious conversations to have about how this may apply in the historic districts and historic buildings downtown, what sort of applications we would look at for that. So for this initial phase, we stayed outside of those areas. Also had some conversation with Woody, and correct me if I'm wrong, but looking and committing to stay away from any words, any language on the art. It's going to be more, I guess, I don't want to say abstract, but more non-word art, I guess, is the most simple way for me to convey it. But so we're working through these things. Just wanted to let you know what we're working on and get your feedback as we begin to craft whatever the instrument, the agreement is going to look like. Do you have things that you would like to see put in there, and take your feedback back to present this at a future meeting, hopefully before June 18th.
We'll see if there's any questions from council. Any thoughts? Councilman Stilgren?
I think this is a wonderful idea. Turn this on. I think this is fantastic. Now, will we get to see pictures before they're, if approved, actually painted on the buildings?
Yeah, we've asked, Woody working with the artists, if they can get their designs ahead of time as we're crafting, whatever this instrument ends up being. So I don't want to speak for Woody and the conversations he's had. I don't know if you want to add to that, but that's something we have requested, that we see what's going on in each building ahead of time.
Yes, I should have some samples of what the art will be in the relative near future. So yes, we'll have mock-ups prior to them starting their work to share with council. I think maybe not so publicly, so that we can have some intrigue about what's happening. But yes, and as to Mark's note, there shouldn't. I haven't seen them yet, all of them, so there shouldn't be any words. And that's something that's easily a bridge that's easily crossed when the time comes. It doesn't apply to the city necessarily, but I know that the mural at the administration building is going to be based around the school district So there may be something that pertains to Monroe or Trojans or something along those lines. But yeah, we can definitely take a preview of them prior to work starting.
I'm looking forward to seeing this. Absolutely.
Are these artists local from Detroit or the region? Where are they from?
Amy Arnold's local.
Yeah,
I'm not sure
her I
about
know.
the other three.
Yeah, so Amy Arnold is local. The 4 artists that have been identified live in Detroit. Tony is from Detroit. He graduated from the Detroit School for the Arts. Also went to College for Creative Studies. Jake is from Minneapolis originally and relocated to Detroit. Wheezy is, I believe, from the Detroit area, and who's the fourth? And Backpack is from Detroit as well, and they all reside in Detroit currently. The intent with his first year was to be mindful of many factors, but we thought that it'd be the best approach would be to try to get as many artists from our region first in year 1 as we move forward. And then the hope is this will be an annual event that hopefully this inspires some of our young creatives to be able to partake as we move forward as well.
If I may, I think, as we've been broaching the subject over the past year, City Council has a goal this year. It was the same with the last administration that we didn't get to, but to revive the Arts and Culture Commission. And, in my mind, from a staff perspective, I was hoping to get the Arts and Culture Commission up and going and get the sign ordinance done before we have this discussion. But we're not going to meet that. And I think it's okay that Woody and Stephanie have kind of pushed us along, but I still think that there's a very integral way to involve an Arts and Culture Commission to help cultivate the local artists who can also participate in this program.
Other question? Councilwoman Viney?
So you said that in the downtown area, this wouldn't work. I know in the past they wanted to do something similar in the alley way, and if I can recall, there was some resistance to it. I don't know what the resistance was or anything, but do you anticipate anything like that with this project? And then also, by us entering into, if we take this on into a pilot program, is that how you're able to do this, even though it could be considered a violation of the sign ordinance?
Well, we're trying to avoid it being a violation of the sign ordinance by only allowing art that does not direct people or promote a product, service, or a location. That's where the sign ordinance comes into play. The trickiness with the downtown area, and I don't want to say this wouldn't work downtown, I think we just have to have a lot more deliberative and thoughtful discussion about it, because the downtown is part of a national register in a historic district. And for those buildings, you have to review the Secretary of Interior's treatment for historic buildings. And they talk a lot about painting exterior. And so it's something we want to look at into the future, whether it's a mural that gets put right on the building, whether it's a mural that's painted on another medium and then hung on the building. I'll say too, we've also had discussions not wanting to stop at paint, looking at sculptures as another medium of public art, looking at other mediums that we haven't thought of outside of just painted murals too, encompassing this project and program. And I've said it, I appreciate Woody and Stephanie taking this deliberative approach and wanting to partner with the city rather than just going rogue and risking violating some of the other ordinances, but again, trying to find a way to yes, so.
Sounds like a nice program, so I look forward to seeing how this goes.
So a couple questions, not questions, comments. I think they look great. I think Councilwoman Stilgrave's question, to me, it's just in concept. I wouldn't have to see the finals. I think it's more in concept. I think it's where, because, yeah, I'd like to see it, but I understand where you're at with, because that's what the WOW is for the public to see as it's being developed and as it is finalized. But it's more in concept. There's been discussions for a long time here in the city regarding murals and where and how. And Mark, you answered almost all of my questions. I think that both of you have. Tiffany's is in the DDA, but it's not the historic district, and I think that allows and lends it to the possibility. Plus, I think their building currently is painted as it is. So those are all the factors that have been talked about in the past. So Councilman Vining, I think makes a good point. I know we had the Heart of Monroe, and those are still viable plans and how we move forward through some of our alleyways. And I think that's going to be in the discussions come out of a commission that as we move in, and where does it fit within the, so it's not going to be conflicting with something that might be historic standards or those fashions. I think that's doable. So appreciate the other comments on the maintenance, upkeep, and all that, because nobody wants it. Everybody wants that, but we don't want it to go the other way. I don't think there's anybody who wants to get deterioration and what steps will be taken and how. So last thing I had was, obviously there's always an investment into this, of how it's done, and whether it be through funding grants. I know there's many that are available, so I know that you're both quite ingenious in how that might be. So I think about the property owners. I think about how bring it forward so it's addressed in that sense.
I'll let Woody answer that question.
Yeah, so I'll say I'm kind of the creative vision behind this, and Stephanie is the financial enabler behind this. So some of the partnerships that she has, the building owners will have some investment in this as well. So they're not completely out of the woods and just providing the canvas. So I've had conversations with each of them. They're all committed to providing investment to this as well. And then as we move forward, there are obviously much larger mechanisms moving forward that we'll be able to tap into as the years go on as well. And then, obviously we have some community partnerships that, for in the past have always supported the arts and community as well. So I think they'll likely be part of this as well.
That's great. I think there's also the community as an individual and the opportunities there, and whether it's in this one or in the future, whether it be crowdfunding type setups and the mechanisms for the funding and accountability and how that goes through. I think it would only have the opportunity for that. I know that, sitting with the Michigan Municipal League, there's currently grant funding available. If submitted in the right sense, it's not going to probably pay for everything, but it is a contribution. And it was presented at the most recent conference as well. And there's a couple different aspects that could be. So, Mark, you mentioned the art and sculptures. Another conversation that came up with the league and at SEMCOG was, I know there's a community here in Southeast Michigan that is part of that art. I won't say lease as much as an art program that they partner with. And it seems once you get in the community, somebody says, well, that can't go because we love it. And then they find sponsors and supporters that help pay for the art. And there are, a lot of local artists you could do that with as well. So I think that's a component in the future as well for the, I'll say sculptures and structured art, which I think would be fabulous as well. So thank you for the presentation. It was excellent.
All right, thank you guys.
I'll see if there's any other questions. Mr. Budge, here comes the attorney. No, I'm just kidding. Mr. Budge, which is always good. It's always good. Don't take that the wrong way.
Say Matt Buds, the citizen, thinks this is all fantastic. Matt Buds, the city attorney, we're going to have some things to obviously work through with Gilbert in Arizona and First Amendment rights and all that sort of good stuff. And I'll say I'm looking forward to the challenge of making it all work. But and that's probably more of a I'll say issue we need to get worked through, obviously, with the sign ordinance too, because I'm just going to say it this way, as I hear Mark describe what a sign is, you have to read what the sign is talking about in order to read it, and that has its challenges, I'll say, with the way the Supreme Court has ruled in the past. So we'll work our way through both those items, and I'm looking forward to it.
So you read signs and you interpret art. Is that what it is? Okay. Yeah. No, it's all good. I appreciate it. It's been a long time discussion through the city, and I think that we're at a place where I think it's going to be embraced, and I think there's ways in which I hear how it can be put together to meet expectations for all. So, if there's no other questions, thank you much.
Thank you.
Patricia, you have a question? Thoughts? Okay. All right. Thank you both. Clerk, next item, please.
The next item is item 3499, delinquent snow removal invoices, public hearing.
Thank you. This is the time of year that comes around each year where we have our public hearings for, I'll just say, delinquent various invoices and public hearings. We have 4 of them. So if you're here for that purpose, they're each for separate reasons. So we'll start with the first public hearing this time. I'll open the public hearing on item 3499, delinquent snow removal invoices, public hearing. Any comments this evening from those present at the public hearing? See no comments. Close the public hearing. And clerk, next item.
Your Honor, before we go to the next one, I just
Yeah.
did want to mention that the clerk treasurer's office did mail notices about the public hearing in addition to posting this to all of the persons that were on any of these lists.
And I see we received a revised list.
We did receive
Today?
a revised list, but it was the only list that changed from when we set the date of this hearing was the mowing list. So that's what is in front of you. The other lists that are attached in the agenda remained the same.
Is it because some were resolved or some?
Some of them came in and paid the delinquent.
Very good.
So the next item is 3497. It's the delinquent rental housing public hearing.
Thank you. At this time, I'll open the public hearing regarding item 3497, the delinquent rental housing invoices public hearing. Any comments for the public hearing on rental housing? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. Clerk, next item, please.
The next item is item 3498, delinquent blight invoices public hearing.
Thank you. At this time, I'll open the public hearing on item 3498, delinquent blight invoices. Any comments for this public hearing regarding blight invoices from those present? Seeing none, close the public hearing. Next item, please.
The next item is item 3496, delinquent weed and grass cutting invoice public hearing.
Thank you. At this time, I'll open the public hearing on item 3496, the delinquent weed and grass cutting invoices, the public hearing. Any comments? Yes, sir. Your name, please. Please. To the, yes, come on forward. Yes. Just say your name and the address that you're working, discussing.
Yeah, so I just want to confirm the address first. I don't have the agenda, but what address is it?
Do you know what
It's
is-
a
what is
vacant
the
land
own- what
on
is the
North
owner-
Dixie Highway.
What is the owner's name?
Bharat Patel.
Is it under, hold on a second, I think. I know.
VD Sample LLC.
Sample, yes.
Yeah.
Correct. Your comments?
My comments is we hired the same company to take care of the lawn and the weed. It's been for like past 3 years. I don't know. They have been taken care of, and they have taken care of last year too. And we have the invoice that we paid and the picture as well. So I don't know what happens that has changed.
I'll just say, I know I looked at through several ones because I believe from that Sempel LLC, there's a few that are on here, more than one. They have the dates in which it was done. Did you see the invoice? Did you see the list of all the dates it is?
Yes, I have gone through the invoices, and then the same date, that the date you have, that follows just 3-4 days between what the invoices we have been paying through this company, and they have been sending me the pictures.
Okay. So you believe that the grass was cut on the date in
Yes.
which it was questioned and wasn't exceeding the limit?
The question is, this company has been doing that all the time, and we have cut the grass 6 times last year as well, starting from May, and I don't know what has changed. Is that the requirement has changed, or what it is? So we want to understand what is going on.
Okay, so what we usually do at this point, because you have some documents and records to compare to the city's records and the invoices that are on here, there's different dates. Mr. Pastu is the city manager. I see he's taken some notes. If you could make sure you connect with him today before you depart, and I'm sure he'll set an appointment that you can have a conversation to show your invoice, who is cutting, along with what the city records are, and then see if there's a resolution. Because we always say we have these come each year, and city council can't make a decision based off this just to waive it. That's not
Understand.
within the permissible by our charter, but the administration through the manager can come back with a alternate recommendation in consultation with the clerk and the city attorney as well. Okay?
All right, thank you.
So, Mr. Pastu, any thoughts or questions?
No, I just, I've got, the dates and for the mowing at the property there in North Dixie, so.
Okay.
We'll, afterwards, after the meeting, I'll just give you my name and number. If you just reach out to me, I'll get back with you. I'll actually do some follow-up before we meet to look at the dates and what we have record of.
All right, thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you. So make sure that you get his number, or he gets your number, so he can do some follow-up and then set a date and a time to get together, okay?
So it doesn't have to happen today though, right? I can call you later on maybe, or?
Well, at the end of this, the next portion after the public hearings is the city council will adopt these resolutions. And what they'll do is give the clerk, treasurer, and myself the discretion to amend that before they go on the tax bill. So there is some time even tonight afterwards to make that amendment if there's, once we review it further, so.
Thank you.
So for your being here this night, the opportunity to provide some information, we want to make sure we get to the very end of all of that before that would affect yours, and as we'll make those motions later. Okay? Thank you for your time. Any other comments this evening regarding the weed and grass cutting?
Your Honor?
Yes, Mr.
Prior to
Mr. Pesce.
the meeting, property owner Curtis Krosky, his mother was there. They had two bills for the address at 604 West 4th. I got their number and I can reach out and contact them and again, similarly review the record that the building department has regarding the violation and then meet with them.
Very good. And Clerk, did you receive any other communications? Okay. So is there any other comments for the public hearing on the weeds and grass cutting invoices? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing. And Clerk, next item, please.
Item 3503 under council action, resolution approval spreading the expenses of snow removal on the 2022 summer tax roll.
Okay, thank you. If there's no further conversation or questions from council, a motion is in order.
I'll make a motion.
Councilwoman Germaini?
Make a motion that item number 3503, resolution spreading the expense of snow removal on the 2022 summer tax roll, move to accept the proposed resolution from the city clerk treasurer authorizing the city assessor to spread the special assessment roll for the expenses of snow removal on the 2022 summer tax roll, and recommending that the resolution be adopted and the changes be placed on the summer 2022 tax roll.
I heard both. There's a motion by Councilwoman Germaini, supported by Councilwoman Vining to support item 3503 as presented. There's no further questions. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Germaini?
Yes.
Steelgrave?
Yes.
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Yes. Next item, please.
The next item is item 3500, resolution spreading the expenses of rental property inspection fees on the 2022 summer tax roll.
Thank you. For the council, similar, the rental property inspection fees. If there's no question, a motion, please.
I move to accept the proposed resolution from the city clerk treasurer authorizing the city assessor to spread the special assessment roll for the expenses of rental property inspection fee on the 2022 summer tax roll, and recommending that the resolution be adopted and the charges be placed on the summer 2022 tax roll.
Motion by Councilwoman Stelgray, supported by Councilwoman Germaini on item 3500 as presented. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Germaini?
Yes.
Steelgrave?
Yes.
Vining?
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Yes. Next item, please.
The next item is item 3501, resolution spreading the expenses of blight removal on the 2022 summer tax roll.
If there's no further discussion, a motion, please.
I'll do that.
Sure.
Move to accept the proposed resolution from the City clerk treasurer authorizing the city assessor to spread the special assessment roll for the expenses of blight removal on the 2022 summer tax roll and recommending that the resolution be adopted and the charges be placed on the summer 2022 tax roll.
Motion by Councilwoman Stelgrave, supported by Councilwoman Vining on item 3501 as. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Germaine?
Yes.
Stilgrave?
Yes.
Vining?
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Yes. Next item, please.
The next item is item 3502, resolution spreading the expenses of weed and grass cutting on the 2022 summer tax roll.
Thank you. Before we take a motion, Mr. Pastor, you made a comment of, we've had a person this evening to talk about theirs, and you had received a contact earlier in the meeting. So besides the motion as presented, what is it you'd like to have added to the motion so you can potentially resolve these?
Well, I think maybe at the end, granting clerk, treasurer, and manager the authorization to finalize that based on the property owner's representation that they are contesting the special assessment.
And that already is built into the resolution.
Is it? Okay.
It doesn't hurt.
Yeah, I think because, the gentleman was here this evening, when you talked in that way, everybody here, and it's beneficial to be here if there's if something you want to contest then later, so I appreciate that.
So just read the resolution.
Right. We're just we're approving it.
I do think granting the clerk, treasurer, and the city manager to resolve contested is, even in there, is appropriate too. All right, so I'll look for a motion. Councilwoman Vining.
I move to accept the proposed resolution from the city clerk treasurer authorizing the city assessor to spread the special assessment roll for the expenses of weed and grass cutting on the 2022 summer tax rolls and recommending that the resolution be adopted and the charges be placed on the 2022 tax roll, and that the city manager and city clerk treasurer are granted authority to spread those and look into the contested invoices and take care of that issue. Thank you.
By Councilwoman Vining, supported by Councilwoman Stelgrave on item 3502 as presented. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Germaine?
Yes.
Stilgrave?
Yes.
Vining?
Yes.
Mayor Clark?
Yes. Thank you. Clerk, next item, please.
The next item is item 3493, budget ordinance fiscal year ending June 30, 2023.
Okay, and the item this evening, Mr. Pastu, I know this is the first reading. Want to schedule a public hearing. Your thoughts to begin with?
Just a brief introduction, Your Honor. We are asking council for a first reading and scheduling of a public hearing for Ordinance 22-002. This is the Budget Appropriation Act covering a time period beginning July 1st, 2022 through June 30th of 2023. This appropriations with this for the general fund, we are looking at a little over $20,435,000. The other operating funds total $54,779,710. The significance of it is, in a gross amount, we're looking at a budget of over $75 million for city operations. We reviewed it with City Council last Monday night. Along with that, the ordinance would establish the millage rates for the general fund, the fire debt service fund, along with the refuse fund, a special economic development millage that is authorized by statute, the millage for the bridge debt service, and then lastly, the 2 mills for the municipal street fund that was approved by voters in November of 2020. Also, it includes the Lake Erie Transportation Tax Levy at 0.8909 mills for the same fiscal year period. Levies the 1% property tax administration fee for the clerk and the assessor's office. And then it also would adopt when adopted, would include the water and wastewater utility fees that were presented to council last week as well. So, comprehensive ordinance.
Thanks. I'll see if there's any questions from the council for the manager on the presentation. As we said, we've had some discussion at a previous session, but this is on the agenda this evening to place on the floor for first reading and the public hearing be scheduled for April 18th. Any questions for Mr. Pastu?
I have a
Oh,
question.
Councilwoman Germaini.
Is it ethical for me to vote on this since Lake Erie Transit is included in this ordinance?
So I think it's appropriate to put it on, this is a motion to set it up for its reading. I think that disclosure is fine. This is a comprehensive overall budget. I don't see that as being a specific approval, and obviously there's the millage issues also. So I think with that in mind, I don't have any concern with that at this point in time.
Okay. Okay. Councilwoman Germaini.
Make a motion for item number 3493, move to place ordinance number 22-002, the budget ordinance, on the floor for its first reading, and that the public hearing be scheduled for April 18th, 2022.
Motion by Councilwoman Germaini, supported by Councilwoman Vining on item 3493, the budget ordinance fiscal year ending June 30th, 2023, and as stated. Clerk?
Just to clarify, so will there be a second reading on April 18th as well? Okay, it's usually mentioned in the motion, so to establish the public hearing and the second reading.
So I'm going to go back
You could
to
just include that in there.
the motion there, which Councilwoman Germaini, would you add also public hearing and second reading?
Yes, I will, so
Just, you're agreeable to add that?
I'm agreeable to add the second reading.
And Councilwoman Vining?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. You made the second. Who made the second? You did. Yeah, okay, good, thanks. See, I already forgot. So add the second reading, so that's as we usually have. Okay. Any other questions? Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Germaini?
Yes.
Steelgrave? Vining?
Yeah.
Mayor Clark?
Yes.
I have no other items this evening, Your Honor.
Do
Do I?
we need the first reading?
Oh, sorry, forgot. We went through all those steps, sorry. What a night. Ordinance 22-002, Budget Appropriations Act, July 1st, 2022 through June 30, 2023. An ordinance to approve the budget for the City of Monroe for the fiscal year ending June 30, 2023.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Now I have no further items.
Next item is council comments. We're in April. Councilwoman Germaini.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Michigan State Police on Jones Avenue is having a Purses with a Purpose event. They will be collecting new or gently used purses, and they'll be filling those purses with items to benefit family counseling and shelter services of Monroe. And it will be provided for the survivors of sexual assault. The hours are Monday through Friday this week from 8 to 4. So if you have any new purses or gently used, bring them down to the police station and they will definitely take them to fill. Thank you, Your Honor.
Councilwoman Stelgrave.
Yes, Your Honor, I do have a couple comments here. So I was able to attend the Everyday Heroes at Leroy's Hall last week, and our own officer Peyton Smithers was awarded an award for saving a little duck. And along with that award, he got a little basket of little plastic ducks, which is really cute. And I was excited that that happened. And congratulations to all the heroes, because that truly is a wonderful event. And I also attended the art gala for the River Basin Battlefield, and that also was amazing, and a lot of beautiful art there. And I did win a basket. So, yeah, that's all I have, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilwoman Vining.
No comment.
Okay. I just have a couple comments for this evening. Obviously, we have a couple, some council members that are absent today. They had other engagements, and I appreciate all for being here so we can conduct our business and keep moving forward. I'm sure you'll see all at the next meeting. The couple items, we might have said this previously, the city's looking for input as we usually do, but one of the items we're looking for now and is posted on the city's website is the Parks and Trails Survey. It's now online. It's been online for a while, so if there's opportunities to you can either QR code it or just go to the city's website at monroemi.gov. And it really talks about, the reason for this is we're preparing our first pedestrian bicycle plan as well as the 5-year plan to update and improve the city parks. We've talked about that many times. Council has it in goals and objectives. We have a parks in the process of getting developed this year, and we're taking information for those to come. But with this, it allows us to have our 5-year plan. We then become eligible to apply for state grants or other sources of funding, and also make sure we have the kind of parks and programs that the residents are looking for. So again, the survey can be found on the city's website, monroemi.gov, and the flyers that are out and about also have the QR code if you wish. Another item is coming up here later in the month, and it's we'll hear it again at our next council meeting. But with the Robert Selden Duncanson Society and with the art, I'll say the Art League and others, and the Lazy Boy Foundation is presenting the Robert Selden Duncanson Legacy, Diversity in the Arts. And this is going to be held at the Monroe County Community College on Tuesday, April 19th, 2022, from 5 to 8 p.m. It's art and literature of Monroe residents. It's all ages are on display, from young youth to seniors and in between. Different types of literature and art will be on display. I know they have 3 or 4 presenters and from Monroe, and some, well, I guess they're all from Monroe as I look at it. There's also others that may be present as well. So again, the date of that is April 19th from 5 to 8 p.m. It's at the Lazy Boy Center, at the Meyer Theater, at the Monroe County Community College. So I should say it the other way: Community College, Lazy Boy Center, Meyer Theater. So hopefully you can attend. It should be some great support for the artists in our community. Those are my comments this evening. Clerk Treasurer Lavoie.
I have no comments this evening.
Thank you. Mr. Pastu?
No comments tonight, Your Honor.
Okay. So next is citizens' comments. If there's comments from those present here this evening, please come to the podium, state your name and jurisdiction of residence if you have a comment to make. Any comments from those present here this evening? Well, I want to thank you all for being here, and for those that, of course, that are not here but watching. And of course, as we know, Impact records and live streams, as well as taping our meetings, is available to be watched in the future. So with that, a motion to adjourn.
I make that motion to adjourn.
Motion from Councilwoman Stelgrave, supported by Councilman Germaine to adjourn. Clerk, please call the roll.
Councilperson Germaine?
Yes.
Stilgrave?
Yes.
Vining?
Yeah.
Mayor Clark?
Yes.